It seems like general manager Ryan Poles really wants to trade down in his first draft as general manager. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears draft discussion video. If you guys want more draft content from me, definitely be sure to subscribe to this channel. I'll be doing a live stream on my YouTube channel for day 2 of the draft this year. So that's on Friday. It'll be rounds 2 and 3. And right now the Bears have 3 picks on that day. So I'll be going live for all those picks with a couple of my other buddies and giving you guys my live reaction to those picks, and obviously analysis videos will be out that following night. And obviously day 3 I'll be doing all my analysis in videos that day too. I won't have a live stream for that day because that day is pretty long. It's like a 4 or 5 hour day, but I will be having a lot of content up on my channel giving you guys my reaction to Ryan Poles' first draft as a Chicago Bears general manager. And speaking of that, guys, Ryan Poles actually had a press conference today where he met with members of the media and kind of talked about some of his potential strategies for the NFL draft. Now, general managers lie all the time in the week leading up to the draft, so I wouldn't take everything, at face value. A lot of this could be just him trying to make stuff up to, get trades from other teams or convince other teams he's going one direction when he's actually going the other direction. Like, you want there to be as much misinformation as possible regarding your draft board, regarding your draft strategies, because it doesn't benefit you if everybody knows what you're going to do. But with that being said, it seems like Ryan Poles really does want to trade down based on stuff he said today, but also based on his entire, philosophy, his entire approach to the Chicago Bears offseason. Okay, the Bears didn't sign very many free agents at all, guys. Like, we didn't sign many big name guys. We signed underrated guys like Al-Qadim Mohabin, Nicholas Moreau, Lucas Patrick, Byron Pringle, which Byron Pringle actually got arrested on Saturday. So that's some bad news, some bad press for probably our biggest offensive signing. Now, it remains to be seen what's going to happen to him. I think he's still going to be on the team, but he might have a suspension, maybe a fine or whatever is going to happen. That's obviously not good, but regardless, like, the Bears have not signed very many free agents, so it seems like Ryan Poles really wants to build this team through the NFL draft, which in my opinion, yes, that's the right way to build a long-term contending team. Okay, you need guys on rookie contracts, young guys that can be on your team for a very long time, and you can only get that through the NFL draft. And Ryan Poles, even in his first press conference ever, he talked about the need for having many picks in a draft, right? Because the draft is pretty much a lottery. The more lottery tickets you have, the more likely you are at winning big. And entering this year, the Bears only had 5 picks in the draft, which for a GM trying to redo the entire roster through the draft, that's not good enough, right? So he traded Khalil Mack away, got an extra pick, and it seems like he wants to trade down now to get some more extra picks in this year's draft. Today in his presser, Poles said that I'd love to do some movement and get more picks. It just has to be in the right area. Now, what he means by the right area, who knows? Okay, maybe that could be a late 2nd round pick, an extra 3rd round pick, a 4th round pick, a 5th round pick. Like, we don't know what the right area actually means in terms of what Ryan Poles wants, but I'm assuming he wants another top 100 pick. Okay, right now the Bears have 3 top 100 picks. We have 2 second rounders and a 3rd rounder. I really feel like Poles wants another 3rd rounder because in this year's draft class, all the NFL people agree that there's not that much top end talent. Okay, there's a lot of talent in the middle of the draft in the top 100 picks, but there's not too much difference from pick number 15 in the 1st round to pick number 70, in the 3rd round. Okay, there's really not much consensus on who the top prospects are at each position. Okay, we don't even know who the top pick is going to be in this year's draft, and feels like every single year you at least know who that's going to be. And this year, we don't know anything because of the lack of true top-end elite talent. So in this year's draft class, a lot of people are trying to trade down. Okay, according to Adam Schefter, it seems like the general feel among all the general managers is that you want to trade down, you want to get more picks because this is the draft class to do so. Now, the fact that everybody wants to trade down, that's going to make it really hard to trade down because you're going to need to find a partner, guys. Okay, you're going to need to find somebody that's willing to move up and either get to your 39 pick or get to your 48 pick and give you a 3rd rounder, a 4th rounder, a 5th rounder. It is going to be pretty difficult, but it won't be impossible because if you look at the top of the 2nd round, okay, so we're going to be picking at pick number 39. We have the 7th pick in the 2nd round. There's a lot of quarterbacks that could be falling down to that area. Maybe Sam Howell, maybe Matt Corral. Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks this year that aren't really viewed as being top of the draft, first round draft picks that could be falling to the beginning of the second round. And there's teams that pick after us, guys, like the Seattle Seahawks, like the Atlanta Falcons, like the Washington Commanders, maybe, like the Saints, that could use, one of these quarterbacks in the second round. And if they want to trade up to pick number 39, they could jump in front of a team that could be selecting their quarterback, right? Like, for example, if the Falcons really want Matt Corral, if Matt Corral's slipping to pick number 39 and they don't want the Seahawks to have a chance at him, they could trade up to 39, give us, something in the middle of the draft, and, both teams would benefit. So I think it is still possible that we could find a way to trade back, even though it is going to be pretty difficult, right? Like, most teams are going to want to trade back to get extra picks, but you're going to need to find a partner, and hopefully the Bears can find that partner, because getting 4 picks in the top 100, that could easily be 4 starters week 1 next season, because we don't have a lot of proven talent on the team currently. And there's a lot of good talent at receiver, offensive line that we could really use, at the beginning/middle of this draft. So I think Poles is pretty likely to trade back. As for other stuff that he talked about in his presser today, he said that he really thinks that offensive line, defensive back, and running back look like positions that will have depth in day 2 and day 3 of the draft. And he also said that running back is particularly deep, even if it's not a top heavy position. Now, I don't foresee Ryan Poles drafting a running back with any of the day 2 picks. Okay, if he selects a running back in the second round, in the third round, I personally would not be the happiest with that, because we don't have a pressing need for a running back. If he selects a running back on day 3, I'd be totally okay with that, because that's probably going to be like a 6th round, 5th round pick, which, yeah, that's okay. But I think I probably wouldn't look too much into this quote from Ryan Poles, right? Because he's just talking about the depth and doesn't necessarily mean he's going to target those areas. But I do think that offensive line and defensive back especially are going to be positions that he attacks during day 2 with the first few picks, because we have big needs at those positions. We also have a big need at wide receiver. So I'm interested he didn't say anything really about wide receiver being deep, but that might be because he wants to, attack wide receiver at the beginning of the second round. If he doesn't think that wide receiver is deep in this year's class, then he probably wants, some of the elite talent that should still be available at the top of round 2. So it's pretty much a guessing game, guys. Like, none of this even has to mean anything. It could just be Ryan Poles just speaking out of his ass, but I really do feel like the trading back comment is something he is serious about. Like, he does want to trade back, and I do think that he's going to look at offensive line, defensive back, maybe running back later on, because obviously right now we have Monty under contract, but Monty is not going to be under contract after this year. And judging by his time in Kansas City, Kansas City never really pays running back, so maybe he's going to draft one late every single year and maybe move on from Monty next year, but who knows? Okay, right now I'm just guessing on everything that Ryan Poles is saying, but I cannot wait for the NFL draft. Okay, it's going to be in a couple days. Friday, again, I'll be going live. If we trade up on Thursday, then I might try to go live that day too, but I don't see any scenario in which the Bears do trade up, especially with Ryan Poles' comments on wanting to trade back and how little draft capital we actually have. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments down below. Cannot wait for the draft. As always, bear down.